Busy day yesterday for the Nashville Predators, but they get it done 6-3 against Boston. Playoff push is still on.
There you go. Now here you go. They're just going to absolutely they won't lose again. They're just going to completely tear through the league with this lineup. Even after they trade Ryan O'Reilly today, and then Marchessault, then maybe they'll get Stamkos gone too. Whatever. All the kids they'll make a run to the playoffs and they'll get to the second round.
Yeah, could happen.
Count on it.
Yeah, it's guaranteed.
Yeah, guarantee. Yeah,
guaranteed. So that'll be good. Well, look, I mean, good for them. I was very interested to see how they were going to respond yesterday because Joe, I think we saw it a little bit on Tuesday, right? Like they started out really slow against Columbus, and it's understandable, right? Like, I mean, when you put yourself in the shoes of the people in the locker room, which sometimes it's hard to do, but you do that, and it's like, well, they're taking out some of our lineup right from underneath us while we feel like we're still in the middle of a playoff push. So, Tuesday, clearly that affected them to start the game. I was very interested to see what they were going to look like last night. And to their credit, they came out and they played really well. So, good on them for coming out and doing that. Some young guys stepped up, I thought looked pretty good. But really, last night, Forsberg looked really good. Obviously, Matt Wood looked good. He had 2 goals.
Yeah.
Stamkos, I thought, looked really good. Eric Halla scores a goal. So, Saros made a huge save in the early part of that game.
Fantastic save.
A lot of veterans last night, I thought, really stepped in, played well. I didn't even mention Yossi, who also looked very good.
It's a little bit of, it's almost a little bit of like, you said we couldn't do it, and we're going to show you, like sometimes this works in sports. You get, I think of it in terms of getting mad at your coach. Sometimes that really worked for me as an elite athlete. You get mad at your coach and you just want to stick it to your coach. And it's like, wow, that coaching actually worked. In this case, you're mad at the GM for breaking up the team. You go out there with some fire and beat a really good team soundly. So we'll see if, we'll see if they can keep it up. Again, we'll see what they are after today.
Well,
that'll probably have something to do with everything.
Yeah. Well, I mean, just following the trend right now, when you're talking about Blankenberg, Bunting, McCarron, and Smith, who are all pending free agents that don't have deals next year, have been traded, which would lead me to believe that Eric Hall is probably getting traded today, right? He's a pending free agent that doesn't have a deal for next year. He's a center. I'm really interested to see what that market's going to look like. And then the big one is Ryan O'Reilly. Here's what I'll say. I would be pretty stunned if Stamkos happens today, just because, Elliot Friedman was talking about this yesterday too. I think when you're talking about Stamkos, the cap hit that he has, and the fact that there's 2 more years left on the deal, it's just a really difficult thing to pull off at the trade deadline. And you're talking about in the span of a few days, a team would have to figure out how to either make that cap hit work. The Predators would retain a bunch of salary for years, which I don't think they want to do. And Stamkos has to approve all this in a matter of a few days. I just don't think that's going to happen. I'd be pretty surprised if Stamkos got moved today. Marchessault, it's pretty clear that they're both trying. We're going to get some comments from Marchessault after the game last night here in just a second. But I think it's pretty clear that both he and the Predators would like to move on at this point. So very interested to see if there's a taker on that front today. As he pointed out last night multiple times, he does have a no move. So he does have control over that. So we'll get into that here in just a minute. The big one is going to be O'Reilly, who, by the way, Joe, did not play last night. Ryan O'Reilly participated in the morning skate. They called him day-to-day with an upper body injury, but he did not play. I did catch a glimpse of Ryan O'Reilly last night, and he could barely open his eye. So there is that. So probably good he didn't play, both from a health standpoint and from a roster management standpoint. But the sense continues to be, and we'll get to some of these comments from Elliot Friedman throughout the hour. According to Friedman yesterday on DVD, Joe, Ryan O'Reilly continued to tell the Predators that he does not want to be moved. So my guess is, Joe, and I am totally guessing here, so go ahead and write it down, that he's going to be traded at about 9:10 today. My guess is he ain't going to be traded today. That's my official position on this heading into this day.
Yeah. Again, the only wiggle room to me that exists there, and that reality is, the deal, like, there just wasn't a good deal, but I just can't believe that's true. I just
No.
I can't believe that's true. So to me, that would be malpractice. Um, the what you've done here, which I know they played well last night, but what you've done here is pretty much ensure that there's not going to be a run with this team. And if the value of him in the twilight years here, okay, or next year, culture setting, all the stuff we've talked about. He's a really good player, but the value of that with what you're going to be, compared to the value of what the return would be on this, I just like my heart. The thing I struggle with is, like, there are other outstanding veterans and pros on this roster who are going to be here next year, right? Like, I understand that he is a different level of obsessed with being great and all that stuff, and that's a great thing to have. But, like, it's not like it's going to be like a frat party if he gets traded. I mean, like, there's pros here who are great players who,
Oh.
right, like, so
Well, by the way, even beyond him, like, they have one of the best leaders in the sport in Steven Stamkos on the team at the moment.
right. I mean, you've got several guys. So again, if that's the reasoning, and because the reasoning, I understand he doesn't want to go. Like, I'm sorry, man. Like, the idea of a handshake, no movement clause is just, it's ridiculous.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. And what you can't convince me that the offers for him are not really, really good. Now, look, I don't know what Barry Trotz's price for moving him is. I mean, his price, for all I know, Joe, could be like 5 first-round picks. I have no idea. But operating within the scope of realism, I would imagine that they've probably already gotten some, and certainly are going to get some today, offers that are really, really good. I mean, just I have to believe that based on some of the offers that are coming in for guys that we've seen already traded, particularly centers. I mean, like Nicholas Waugh, who most people listening to this show have never even heard of, got traded yesterday from Toronto to the Avalanche. He's a first round pick. I mean, you're talking about a center who's, I mean, not in the same stratosphere as Ryan O'Reilly, and there's a conditional first round pick going back the other way. So, like, if Jason Dickinson and Nick Waugh are fetching first round picks, I mean, the price for Ryan O'Reilly has to be just extremely high. And I would imagine the offers are as well. So I just that's my guess on how this goes today. I am totally open to being wrong. I could be wrong. Frankly, I hope I am wrong. But my guess is he's not going anywhere today.
Yeah, well, I'll just guess the opposite, because, I mean, the question is, like, does someone today really step up? I mean,
Yeah.
obviously, if there was a deal good enough, you would think it would have already happened. Does someone today say, okay, fine, we'll give you prospect, fill in the name that you've been asking for, that we've been hesitant to do. Let's do it.
We'll see.
We'll see.
We'll see. It's going to be really interesting. And so is the reaction in the aftermath of it. 615-737-1025, our phone number. It's trade deadline day for the Predators and the NHL. We'll take your thoughts on Ryan O'Reilly. Some comments we'll get to from Jonathan Marchessault coming up later this hour as well. All that ahead. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game.
I hate to make bold pronouncements within 24 hours of the trade deadline because I freely admit things can change. On O'Reilly, I am still under the impression he does not want to be traded. The last I heard, that was still the case. And of course, because the team has told him, even though he doesn't have anything written, I mean, everybody in Nashville knows this. I've been told that O'Reilly does not want to be traded. So until someone comes to me and tells me that it's different, I am sticking to that. There's been no lack of interest, but I am under the impression his position is he does not want to be dealt.
How's Elliot Friedman yesterday on with DVD? The Joe, you heard it there. I mean, Elliot's not just pulling that out of thin air. He's saying, I'm hearing that O'Reilly still doesn't want to be moved. Said there's no lack of interest out there, which obviously there's not a lack of interest in Ryan O'Reilly. But look, I'll be honest with you, Joe. I heard that, and my thought process was, well, you could pretty much forget about that then. He's not getting traded. That's exactly what I thought when I heard Elliot Friedman say that.
It's just, I'm sorry, like, you can't go out like this if you're Trotz. You can't just give someone their own trade protection that they don't have in their contract, and just, it's funny because, the famous quote, of course, that Trotz had coming in was about Matt Duchene, right? Coming. We don't want people who want to like retire here in Nashville, and I'm not. Understand, like, there's nothing bad you can say about Ryan O'Reilly, but at the same time, it's like, what are they going to be next year? I mean, so Ryan O'Reilly likes living here. He's got a young family, likes living here. That's great. This is hockey business. Like, that cannot matter more than helping your franchise as much as possible in the job that you have while you still have the job.
Well, to that point, like, Barry Trotz has said repeatedly that it's his job to do what's best for the franchise. Now, look, I understand if I had this conversation with Barry Trotz, Joe, and if the trade deadline comes and goes today and O'Reilly doesn't get traded, one of the questions I'm going to ask is, why was not moving Ryan O'Reilly, in your opinion, the best move for the franchise, right? Because I think that's a tough sell. I mean, again, without being privy to exactly what the offers are, I think just reading tea leaves, Joe, about some of the other things that are going on in the league, you would have to imagine that the offer for Ryan O'Reilly is pretty darn strong, man. Like, you would just have to imagine that. So, I mean, I know what his answer is going to be. It's going to be, that's how important Ryan O'Reilly is, and the next general manager is going to have the opportunity to extend him and keep him around coming up July 1st. I mean, that's going to be roughly probably what the answer is. But in my opinion, and I understand that my opinion doesn't have to be Barry Trotz's opinion, but in my opinion, I mean, you're talking about maximum value for Ryan O'Reilly right now that we've talked about a lot. There's no need to relitigate why, but it's maximum value right now. And you just got a tough time convincing me with where this franchise is right now that the best move for the franchise isn't maximizing on that value. And if you don't do it because you've given a verbal handshake to Ryan O'Reilly, I just don't. That's not how general manager needs to operate in the National Hockey League. I'm sorry. It's just not.
You can't do it. And again, it's got P. Houston on the YouTube chat says, TP Barry. Don't TP anybody's house. We don't need to TP anybody's house. But yeah, it's the same. Like Redemption. Well, why is O'Reilly being treated differently than Duchene? Well, I mean, there are very clear differences. Duchene is not the guy. You say, this is who you need to be. This is the example that everyone should follow. This is, I mean, in some ways, I think some people in this league would say, like, there's a pretty, like, they're kind of in some ways opposite ends of the spectrum, right? In some ways. I mean, Duchene still obviously has had a great career, but yeah, like, I'm sorry, like, the best thing for the franchise is to move him for, again, we don't know the exact return, but it's I mean, listen to Elliott right there. I mean, there's no lack of interest. No lack of interest means teams competing with each other to try to get him, means increasing, it should be increasing returns. And again, potentially today, should be today. And you hope that at some point it's like, okay, that's just too good. You can't be, thanks, guys. Oh, that sounds amazing. But I told Ryan that I'm not going to move him. So we told him we'd give him that. Like, I'm sorry. It's just, you can't operate that way. I mean, it's embarrassing.
Well, again, deadline's today, so he can still trade him. I mean, I am leaving an open mind that changes today. I'm just telling you, if you force me now to guess what's going to happen, my guess is that he's still here. Like Jason in Dover on the text line says, you don't get better by getting rid of great players. I mean, that's fine, but you also have to be realistic about where your timeline is.
Where is
how
he
much
in his
longer
prime?
is Ryan O'Reilly going to be a great player, right? Like, Ryan O'Reilly is 35 years old, and as great as he's playing this year, and it's not his fault, but as great as he's playing this year, you're outside the playoffs looking in right now. So, you don't get rid of great players, get better by getting rid of great players. That's fine. What are you with him next year?
Exactly.
You're probably right where you are right now, which is a fringe playoff team. So if you can maximize that value and get younger, which Barry Trotz, by the way, has stated that he wants to do, can get younger and get players that when most of your younger core is ready to come up and compete, that can help that, maybe even accelerate that. Like, you got a tough time convincing me that that's not the better option to go if you're Barry Trotz.
Yes. This is how you get younger. We talk all the time about, there's draft picks, there's prospects. They've got obviously some excellent veterans who are, they're getting up there, different, some more than others. And then there's just this complete void in the middle, right?
Yeah.
And this is how if you get the right prospect along with, I don't know, certainly a first round pick and whatever else you're going to add to your draft capital. But if you get the right prospect, that can be part of the void being filled by someone who actually makes an impact and moves a needle for your franchise. Like Ryan O'Reilly's not going to be a point a game player. I mean, he may not be again, but all due respect for what he's done this year, he's starting to get on the other side of things, and the value, what he's done this year, what he would provide to a team, to a lot of these teams, is they could make the difference for one of these teams to make a run. I mean, the guy has been a Conn Smythe winner. Like, I mean, what he does in the faceoff circle, you can play him in every situation. Like there's no way that there aren't teams offering primo returns for him. And you have to take one.
And selfishly, I'd love for him to stay around. I love the guy. I mean, he's awesome to deal with. Like, from a media perspective, he's great. I mean, we've talked about this and joked about this. I mean, after the games, he single-handedly blames every part of every loss on himself. It's objectively hilarious to sit there and listen to. So, it'd be way better for me if they just kept him. But I try to, be as objective as possible in these discussions. And I just think this is an opportunity. I've said it many times. This is an opportunity that they have not had a whole lot during the history of their franchise when it comes to assets at the trade deadline that are in high demand. And I just think they've got one of those opportunities right now. Now, there's another player that it's going to be, beyond O'Reilly, probably the most interesting thing I'm looking for today to see whether or not something happens. He had some comments after the game last night that we'll get into coming up next as well. You're listening to Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. You're live from our Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville studios, home of the $99 yearly Beehive membership where the buzz is always about great service. Today is trade deadline day in the National Hockey League. Predators have already traded Nick Blankenburg, Michael Bunting, Michael McCarron, Cole Smith. We'll see what else is in store today. We've talked a lot about Ryan O'Reilly so far on the show. Joe, one that other than O'Reilly, I'm probably going to be monitoring the closest today. What happens with Jonathan Marchessault? It's not an easy deal to move, just from the standpoint of he's got 3 more years left on his contract at over $5 million. So it's not immovable, but it's going to take a specific set of circumstances. And as Marchessault pointed out last night multiple times, he does have a no move. So he's got control over it. This is what Jonathan Marchessault had to say after the game last night, after the Preds 6-3 win against Boston on the NHL trading deadline.
What's kind of the deadline period like for you right now as you're watching not only your teammates go, but everybody's future maybe in question here? How are you handling this week?
Yeah. I mean, I have a no move, so I'm handling as well as I can. Yeah, I mean, obviously they took a different approach at the deadline this year, and I mean, it's kind of like where they were going last summer as well. So they just kept going in the same direction, and just it's a part of the league that we're in, like the organization. They take decisions and stuff, and we're just players here trying to bring our best effort.
You've had no conversations with Trotz or anybody about potential moves or anything like that?
I would like to keep that probably between me and Trotzy, but I mean, I worked hard to put myself in a situation that I have a no move, so I pretty control over that. And yeah, I mean, right now it is what it is, and I mean, you had a big game tonight, and it was good.
So that was Marchessault yesterday after the game, Joe, which, I mean, I heard those comments, and, you know, that combined with like Elliot Friedman talking about how the Predators are trying to move him. Like, it's pretty clear, I think, that both the Predators and Marchessault, I think, are ready to move on. Now, I think it's also clear, Joe, that, I mean, clearly Marchessault is not just going anywhere. Like, he brings up the no move a couple of times last night because he's making it clear that he's in control of where he goes. So, like,
have I mentioned I have a no move?
I have
Just call me no move Marchessault.
I've worked really hard to get this no move. So, I mean, good for him. That's why players want it. So they're in control of what happens here. But that one today is going to be interesting. I mean, it's going to take, obviously, a team that can fit in the cap, a team that is okay with the term left on his contract, and a team that he's okay waiving the no move to go to and then moving his family. So that's a lot that has to happen in the before the deadline, Joe. We'll see what happens on that. I don't know how likely or not it is that he actually gets moved today, given all those circumstances. But, you know, I've said it for months now at this point. I think if the Predators, whether they were 4 points out of a playoff spot or 7 points into a playoff spot at this point, they'd probably be listening on the Jonathan Marchessault front. I think it's clear that they are.
Yeah. I'm going to keep that between us, me and Trotzy. Pretty. I'd be surprised. I think I'd be surprised if there isn't news on him today, right? You don't know. It's got to work. It's got to work for him. That's been very clearly made. But you would think that there'd be someone. I guess that's the interesting thing. We can all sit here and talk about Ryan O'Reilly's market. Good question on the YouTube chat, by the way. Like, why do we always call him Ryan O'Reilly? We don't just call him O'Reilly. We call him Ryan O'Reilly. Ryan O'Reilly. I don't know why.
Off the tongue
it just flows.
I mean, I feel like we always call Cam Ward too. Sometimes it just flows.
That's a good point. With Marcus Mariota, we just called him Marcus. He was such a star. He just got the one name, first name treatment. But as convinced as we are that there are great offers for ROR, I don't know. Like the Marchessault thing is interesting. I mean, I haven't really heard much like reporting on the other side of that. You know what I mean? Like,
well, I could promise you, like, the return for Marchessault is not going to be great.
Yeah,
like, it's not going to be a good return because you've got the term left on the deal, and frankly, like the production just isn't there. Like he's not had a good year. So all that combined, I mean, you'd be selling pretty low. But I think the Predators have probably reached a point where it's like, if there's a way that we could get out of this deal for the next 3 years, we'll do it. And I guess what I'm interested to see is if they are able to come to a deal with somebody for Marchessault, do they have to eat any money with that deal? Because if they do, I mean, I'm still looking at Stamkos. And again, I'd be pretty surprised if Stamkos happens today. But like in the offseason, when you've got more time to work through all this stuff, and, Stamkos is looking at the situation, if it goes this way, and he's saying, I just don't know. I don't know how competitive they're going to be next year, and I'm more open to being traded at this point and waiving it. Like, are you at that point going to be able to move Stamkos without retaining any salary? Like, I don't know. Like, I know if you're the Predators, you don't really want to get back into the retaining salary game here, but you might have to facilitate one of these deals.
Yeah. Yeah. And, people like P. Houston, I'll take a bag of pucks from Archie. I understand. Like, yeah, the returns like to be great. I'm just wondering even like the interest. Who and,
right.
Is there interest? Like, is there a deal to be made? Any sort of deal? There may not be.
I think there may not be, but I do think like if you're a team looking at it objectively, like, do we think that he just totally fell off a cliff? Because I remember I don't think it's the same, but I remember early in the year, Joe, we were having a conversation about Stamkos. And I think at that point he had like 4 goals in 22 games or whatever it was. Like it was an awful start. And people around the league were like, oh my God, he's completely fallen off the cliff. And Predators fans were like, this guy is terrible. Like he has just completely lost it. And my point the whole time was like, do we think that he's just totally fallen off the cliff? Like he's gone from 80-something points his last year in Tampa to now he can't even skate out there in the span of a year and a half? Or do we think that either from the way they're asking him to play or the teammates he's playing with, it just isn't working? And to his credit, like I think he changed his approach up and decided to maybe get to the harder areas a little bit more, but he scored more goals than anybody else in the league since then. So, right. I don't think him and Marchessault are the exact same. Like Marchessault may be going down. Like I think we talked about this at the time, Joe. When they signed Marchessault, he was coming off a 40-goal year. I think I said the day they signed him, he's probably not going to get a 40-goal season ever again.
It's probably 100%
not going to happen. I do think you would have a hard time convincing me that he is truly as bad right now as his numbers would suggest that he is. I think frankly, there's just a huge difference between being in Vegas playing with Jack Eichel and what he's been playing with here. Like it's a completely different thing.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. So, but I'm sure. I think you're right. There's teams that you have to look at it and say, like, there's got to be something there, right? I mean,
right.
There's something there. So, yeah, I think that salary retention piece is a big part of it. George from Murfreesboro said, I wonder if Nashville, being the awesome place it is, might actually be a disadvantage sometimes because these players and the GM focus more on non-hockey things. They want to retire and raise their family. So
Let's let me just be clear on that. Like Ryan O'Reilly is not walking around being like, well, I just don't care. Like
no. I agree.
I guess that's my point. Like yes, it's a great place to live. That should be nothing but an advantage for you if you're the Predators. Like it should be this is not up to Ryan O'Reilly. Like it shouldn't be. This is, if you allow it to be up to Ryan O'Reilly, that's your decision. That's not O'Reilly's decision.
Yeah. But for sure, like, look, O'Reilly, again, you can't question anything in terms of his desire to win, work ethic, all that stuff. Here's my question, though. Yeah, if he wants to stay here so bad, and again, apparently, at least so far, you think so much of him that you're giving him something he doesn't have in his contract. But if you're him, so you want to be here, but you don't know who the GM's going to be pretty soon. You don't know who the coach is going to be pretty soon. Like, why aren't those things factors in? If this is about him saying, just like Elliott reported yesterday as if it is what matters so much that he doesn't want to leave. Why aren't those things, speaking to him in a way that's like, you know what? I mean, who knows what the heck this is going to be?
Factor. I see what you did there. That was nice.
Wow, I didn't
Yeah,
even
it's a
mean
good
to do
question. It's a good question. I mean, I would have to think, the general manager, I think, is important. I think the coaching part of it could be more important.
that.
To the
Yeah,
player,
well, for
right?
sure, for
Like,
sure. The coaching part's more important of that equation.
Like
Yeah.
what's going to happen with Andrew Burnett? And look, I mean, look, it's possible that the new general manager comes in and keeps Andrew Burnett in place. We'll see.
Sure,
I
but you don't know.
You don't know, and I don't think there's any way that any of those guys could know right now, right? I mean, there's no way. So no, it's a totally fair question. Like if you don't want to leave, but if you're O'Reilly and Stamkos looking at the situation right now, how could you possibly know that you're going to be a spot? And forget no. How could you expect right now that you're going to be in a spot to actually compete for a Stanley Cup championship next year? Like it feels like they're pretty far away from that.
Yeah, and just knowing the GM is leaving just obviously just makes the coach situation that much more up in the air. And also, again, like a new GM could be like, yeah, this has to be taken down to the studs.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe a new GM comes in and says, oh, okay, we got O'Reilly and Stamkos and Forsberg. Let's go. Let's load up. And again, then we'll all sit here and say, okay, so they're just going to be a fringe playoff team again forever.
Right. 615-737-1025, our phone number. A lot more of your thoughts to get to on the Predators and the NHL trade deadline. We will continue that discussion. We'll get into some NFL free agency news coming up at 7 o'clock. All that ahead. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game, taking your thoughts on the NHL trade deadline, 615-737-1025. Let's head to our phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Welcome in Ricky in Nashville to the program. Ricky, good morning. Thank you for calling in.
Good morning, guys. How are you? I just had a quick little point. The Minnesota Wild have a standing trade offer with the New York Rangers for Vinny Trocheck. And the offer was their number 4 prospect, their number 1 pick this upcoming year, and a current NHL player. Now, if you compare Trocheck to O'Reilly, it's no comparison. O'Reilly offensively is so much more dominant. He's playing at a point per game average this season. He's played 61 games. He's got 60 points. The guy can bring back a haul for the Predators. And my point on this is I don't know why anyone would stay currently, because you have a lame duck GM. You're going to have a second GM come in next year no matter what. It's going to be an experienced GM, because with the roster taking shape the way it is, you can't count on a new GM coming in with all of the holes that they have to fill. So if I'm O'Reilly, I'd welcome a trade, and I think the 2 teams to keep an eye on are the New York Islanders and the Minnesota Wild. Both of them have been trying to get a center, and both of them could use the offensive help, and they have root switch routes. What do you guys think?
Yeah, thanks for the call, Ricky. I mean, Minnesota, I think, definitely is going to be in the mix here if he wants to go, right? Like, I mean, Minnesota clearly is all in, Joe. Like, they've gotten Quinn Hughes. They got big Michael McCarron. Like that, I think they could probably still use another center. So that would make sense that they could be in the mix. Like, I think Minnesota could be in the mix. People have talked about Colorado. I know Colorado's kind of nibbled around the edges so far when it comes to, some of the pieces they've added, including Nick Blankenberg. Like, you look in the East right now, the East is interesting because they've got, Tampa playing really well. Buffalo is playing really well. Buffalo's trying to add a couple other pieces. It looked like they had Colton Parayko from St. Louis, and then he turned the deal down, which is his right to do, but he turned down going to Buffalo via trade. What's Detroit going to do? Like, there's a lot of teams out there that will be interested in Ryan O'Reilly. Like Montreal, would they be interested in Ryan O'Reilly? Where would he want to go? That's another part of this, because it's hard for me to believe, Joe, that even if they move to a point where they want to trade him, they're still going to be like, all right, here are the options. Here's the options that we've got. We got some pretty good offers here. Which place would you rather go? Like, I've got a hard time imagining, based on the way they've handled this situation to this point, it's difficult for me to imagine, Joe, the Predators looking at O'Reilly and going like, hey, you've had basically a full no move, even though you don't have one, and now we're just going to pull the rug out from underneath you and trade you, even though that's probably the way that I would operate. I think they would probably stack offers against each other and be like, we have to move you. You pick where you want to go.
No, that's just
that's probably best case scenario at this point if you're looking for value back.
Well, that's what an unserious sports franchise does. That's an unserious professional sports franchise. I mean, you go to them and you say, look, this is the best deal. It's an incredible deal. This team, with you can make a run. I mean, you can't. If people try to avoid, I mean, David Poile was allergic, and he wasn't alone in this league, to the NMCs, right, forever. And this
is why, by the way.
Yeah. But again, so if you don't have one, don't create one. It's already, you've been working to not have them. You have a lot of them. So you got Marchessault and Lager. Hey, by the way, no movement. Hey, I got a no move, right? Great. Okay, well, he actually has one. Ryan O'Reilly doesn't. Like, you come to him, you thank him. And I'm sorry. Like, you are not a serious professional sports franchise if you can't do that. Like, that's just absurd. I mean, like, Pete Houston, again, he's like, fine, I'll say it. No one wants it. Ryan O'Reilly would rather be here for a rebuild than move for a chance for a cup. He's got his ring. He's done. And he's happy. I don't know if that's true. Look, there's real life stuff here. There's real life stuff here. Okay.
That's it. Like, clearly the real life stuff is outweighing, like, the chance to go make some cup run with the New York Islanders, right? Like, clearly.
Yeah. But also, like, when it comes down to it, I mean, look, I can relate. Like, I actually just came up with this math during the break. So, my 3 kids, so that's 13 years of schooling. We pretty soon they'll be through all of them, and it'll be 27 of those 39 years of schooling will have been done here, and we're thrilled with it, and it's a great place to live, and it's been great raising them here. And so I get it, but obviously you can continue to live here. Your family can continue to live here. You can go you're going to be gone more, all that stuff, but like, it's not the end of the world. I mean, so I just can't, like, I can understand him preferring it, but at the same time, I also think he's the ultimate professional. And then you come to him and say, look, this is just too good. This is going to set up this organization that you care about really well. You now have a chance to go chase a cup. Thank you so much, Ryan. It's not that hard. I'm sorry. I don't think it's that hard.
I'm with you. Again, I'm totally with you. I'm just, based on the information that we have, I just find it unlikely he's going to get moved today based on that information. Like, again, we played the comments earlier in the hour from Elliot Friedman about, basically until he hears otherwise, he's just assuming that he's not going because he doesn't want to go. And again, like, I think that I don't think that that's the way you need to operate. But if you're asking me to predict right now if he's going to get traded, my answer is no. That's just my answer. And I mean, frankly, that's kind of how this has gone with Barry Trotz as GM, right? Like, it's just not been very good. I mean, look, I love Barry Trotz. I got a lot of respect for Barry Trotz, but the GM tenure has not been good. And maybe, maybe Matthew Wood turns out to be a great player, and we're going to find out probably some of the answer to his general manager tenure a few years from now as to how some of these players turn out. But, handling this way, if it comes to pass and they don't move him because of some loyalty to him, the Predators, that's just even stronger reason to me, Joe, why you got to get outside of the family and go hire somebody from outside the organization as your next general manager. Like, look, I've talked about this a ton. I think there's a lot over the last almost 30 years at this point to respect about the Predators and the way that they've handled things. Loyalty, that's been obviously very important to them, given how few turnover there's been both at general manager and at coach. But I contrast this, Joe, with Vegas, who is kind of the example we bring up a lot, who is just completely ruthless, completely. Mm-hmm. There's zero loyalty with the Vegas Golden Knights. And look, there are pros to that. There are probably cons to that as well. Like, I think they spurn people a lot, but the only thing that matters to the Vegas Golden Knights is winning, and they don't care how they do it. And the Predators have not operated that way ever.
Barry Trotz, this is your last day of consequence as general manager of the Nashville Predators. Do the right thing for the Nashville Predators, period.
Yeah, I totally agree. 615-737-1025 is our phone number, 615-737-1025. We will get back into the NHL trade deadline next hour. We're going to take a quick breather, and we will get into some NFL free agency / trade news. That's coming up next. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. Hour number 2, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Robby Stanley, Joe Rexrode, Ian Safar here with you on this Friday morning. We are presented by Green Ventures Landscaping. Property managers, if you manage it, they maintain it. Visit greenventureslandscaping.com. We will have Teron Davenport coming up at 8 o'clock. We will get into all things Tennessee Titans with him. We will get back into the NHL trading deadline throughout the show. Here today, it is deadline day in the National Hockey League. What more moves could be coming for the Nashville Predators? Tennessee Brew Works, the official craft beer of football offseason coverage here on ESPN 102.5 The Game. And Joe, it's a busy time in the football offseason right now. We saw a trade yesterday, the Buffalo Bills trading with Chicago to acquire DJ Moore. So they send a 2026 second-round pick to Chicago in exchange for Moore and a 2026 fifth rounder. So Bills paying a second-round price for DJ Moore. You know, DJ Moore originally with the Carolina Panthers, and then he was acquired by Chicago in the deal that shipped off the number 1 pick that ended up being Bryce Young in Carolina. And last year, DJ Moore, not really a good year despite a good year for the Chicago Bears. DJ Moore, 50 catches, 682 yards, 6 touchdowns last year. So pretty big drop. He played in all 17 games, and he went from 98 catches in 2024 to 50 catches last year in 2025, and he is now a member of the Buffalo Bills. What do you make of that move from the Bears standpoint, from the Bills standpoint, giving up a second-round pick to get DJ Moore?
Well, I'm going to call that a Bears win, and I understand it. I like Buffalo needs to upgrade, so like that's good. It's just kind of rich for me, for him, and like you said, the production fell off last year. Some of that is other guys emerging with the Bears, but like that has to mean to some extent that he fell off, right? Like in some way. I mean, he's only 28, so it's not like he's a gray beard or anything, but
yeah.
Look, it's a good ad for the Bills. So if you're in the Bills, and again, they've been in this position for how long, where they've been just straight out like the most buying of buyers you can have, right? Like they're always out there getting a Von Miller or somebody like that. They're trying to find that last piece or last couple pieces. Is he that? I mean, he certainly upgrades the receiving core, and Josh Allen's been able to do pretty good things with at times some pretty. I mean, I know obviously James Cook was incredible last year, but Josh Allen's been able to do some, and he's had great tight ends. But at receiver, it's kind of been up and down, since the Diggs prime. It's a help. I just don't know how much of a help it is. And I think giving up for the Bears, I mean, I think it's a great move. Like they've got enough weapons, especially with I think Burden is probably going to really break out next year. That's my guess. Yeah. So for them, it's like it works out perfectly, and you get a second out of that. Like you're going to get a high impact football player out of that.
Who's the better Who's the better fantasy pick next year, Burden or Dunze?
Probably a Dunze.
Yeah, they've got a really good chemistry, but I do think that Burden will be a much more drafted player next year, right?
Yeah, for sure. Like I think he's going to end up being a pretty good player. I guess on the Moore front, why? Like if you're Buffalo looking at this, I'd be a little scared off on the lack of production this year. Like you said, I mean, it's not like he's old, but I mean, he went from 98 catches to 50. Like, why is there that big of a drop? I mean, look, it's, Caleb Williams was the quarterback in 2024 too, right? Like he was a rookie, but he was the quarterback. I mean, the difference is Ben Johnson. So did Ben Johnson just use him differently? Is it as simple as, the emergence of Rome Odunze and they drafted Luther Burden and there was just less opportunity? I mean, he got targeted 85 times. So his targets were cut almost in half, Joe. Like he was targeted 140 times in 2024. He was targeted 85 times this past year. So that's a pretty steep drop off. So maybe you're the Bills and you just say, well, it's as simple as that. They didn't throw the ball to him as much as they needed to throw the ball to him, and we will.
But why?
Right.
Why? Yeah. Some of the why is, it's just like there's more opportunity for for young guys, you got a high pick at tight end coming in. I mean, that is part of it, but you would have thought that he still would have maintained his production a little bit better than that. So it's, I mean, he's still a good player. Again, with Buffalo and the problems they've had. I mean, Keon Coleman just wasn't a good pick. I mean, they very much needed to add to it. I still wonder how how do they look at their receiving core now? Do they feel like that's good enough, or are they still going to, do something else?
Here's a good question from Trevor. It says, if DJ Moore fetched a second rounder, does that mean AJ Brown's floor will be a first rounder if he gets traded this offseason? That is interesting.
Yeah, it is interesting. AJ, little older, certainly certainly a better player. Like the whole stuff with AJ, and if you want to blame him for all that, obviously he can be a loose cannon. But I mean, does that significantly impact his value? I don't know.
I mean, they're the same age. I mean, DJ Moore actually by a couple months is older than AJ Brown.
Oh, I thought AJ was already 29.
They're the same age.
AJ's better.
I'd have to
period.
AJ's definitely better. I mean, there's no doubt about that. I'd have to look at like how I don't know offhand like what DJ Moore's contract is. So I mean, obviously the contract stuff will factor into it, but I mean, yeah, like if I'm the Eagles yesterday, I love that deal because I'm like, okay, well, if they do end up trading AJ Brown, I'd certainly leverage that with whoever's trying to trade him. It's like, well, they just gave up a second round pick for DJ Moore. You're going to have to do better than that if you want AJ Brown.
Yeah, exactly. And by the way, his deal, the extension, which he signed with Chicago before the 24 season, was 4 for 110, 82, 83 in guarantees, 27.5 average, AAV here on the deal. So it's not cheap. It's not nothing. I mean, it's a pretty significant deal. In Buffalo, I guess we'll probably restructure it, to be compliant with the cap.
I'm sure they will.
But it's a good point. Like AJ Brown is if you're the Eagles, it's like how could you look at that deal and not give us a first for AJ? Because in my mind, I've kind of thought maybe a second rounder for him.
I kind of have too.
But this
could change that.
This flies in the face of that.
So another move made this morning. You heard Ian's update just a few minutes ago, but the LA Chargers have signed center Tyler Biadasz to a 3-year deal worth $30 million. So Biadasz was cut by the Commanders. He was going to make $8.3 million next year, and now he has signed with the Chargers. So, look, I have no idea how interested or not interested the Titans were in Tyler Biadasz, but you could take a center off the market now with him already being released by the Commanders means he was out there and available. So take one off the list for the Tennessee Titans when it comes to center next week.
And I think count them in to the Tyler Linderbaum sweepstakes. I think that's a problem. And maybe it's just as simple as that's their target and they think they can get him. I don't know. I mean, the Biadasz thing is really, it doesn't add up to me completely. Why, if you're the Commanders, you're releasing him? You see what the Chargers just gave to him. Like what? I think there's some missing information here, right?
It doesn't make a lot of sense.
No, I don't. Again, a good, reliable center is probably one of the most underrated things in the league. And so I don't. It's not like he was breaking the bank whatsoever. So it's kind of a weird deal. But the Harbster jumps all over it.
Yeah. One of the Harbsters. And then now they're speculating, like all the Giants fans, Joe, are convinced that when Linderbaum reaches free agency, he's just going to go back with John Harbaugh with the Giants this time around, which I guess could happen. But.
Yeah, well, that could be. Mike from PA go all in on Connor McGovern. I don't see Linderbaum happening. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's an easy connection to make for sure. So for some reason, I called Jim the Harbster, but you're right. I mean, that could be confusing.
It could be. I mean, I don't know like how they divide that nickname.
We'll call John the Harbinator.
There we go.
How about that? Jim's the Harbster.
There we go. We'll take more of your thoughts on NFL free agency on the Titans at 615-737-1025. We'll get into Tennessee and Vanderbilt as well coming up. Robby and Rexrode 1025 The Game. Welcome back in, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Taking your thoughts on our phone and text lines driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Let's head to our phone line. Welcome in Mark in Nashville to the program. Mark, good morning. Thank you for calling in.
Hey, good morning, Robby. What's up, Uncle Joe?
What's up, Mark? How we doing today?
Yeah, you know the family reunions this weekend, man, so we're going to expect you to be there, Uncle Joe.
Carhartt for everybody.
Yeah, bring Carhartt there. Hey, Joe, we're going to have Creed there. They're going to be over there by the picnic venue, man, so we're going to have Creed set up for you.
That sounds about right for them, playing a
What
family reunion. That's
what a
about what their
great
gig should
My
be.
goodness.
Yeah. You know, that's
Oh, yeah. At 3 doors down, going to be there playing behind them, Joe. So, yeah.
it's like Woodstock all over again. My God.
Oh, yeah. A baby Bonnaroo. Yeah, man, I heard y'all talking about the trade with Buffalo that they made with DJ Moore. Robby, Joe, I think Buffalo kind of gave up. He wasn't really worth a second-round pick, especially with the lack of production. Maybe a fourth-round pick. But Buffalo needed more on defense, if y'all would agree with me or not, than they do offense, man. The offense wasn't really the problem. The defense couldn't stop a cold. They were one of the worst against the pass and the run. And I thought they should have, go after a Myles Garrett or something. Use those picks or something like that. But, I mean, more help them out on offense. They probably do need one more wide out. But I just thought that wasn't a great deal right there in free agency signing, trading with the Bears to get him. But, hey, Joe, Robby, I heard y'all talking earlier about this Ryan O'Reilly guy. I don't usually talk about hockey. I don't really know it that well. But I'm going to say this. If they don't trade this guy today, not only is it going to set this franchise back big time, it's going to be one of the worst things that they did ever do. And Barry will go down. Hate to say it. It's one of the worst GMs ever, man. There's no loyalty in business out here. Business is business. And they need to take care of business today. Trade the guy. Don't let him sit there and tell him what he don't want to do. You got to know you don't have a no trade clause in your contract. So only get what you can get for him and tell him goodbye and do what you got to do. But, hey, y'all have a good day and stuff, Robby, Joe. Y'all have a good weekend. Hey, Joe,
Thank you,
1
Mark.
o'clock, man. Family reunion. We'll see you, Joe.
All right. I'll wear my Creed shirt.
All right. We'll see you, man.
Thank you, Mark. Appreciate it. No invite for me. I'm out of luck, man.
Well, I mean,
Just Joe.
You can come too. No,
I can't.
Well,
there's no invite.
I have to sit at the picnic tables a little bit farther away from the Creed, from the stage.
We'll allow you to be in the same.
I'm not sure you can be in the pit, in the mosh pit. Okay. But we'll see. Yeah.
Family ties. Those matter. Blood's thicker in the water.
Bring some banana pudding.
Joe, big one between Tennessee and Vanderbilt coming up this weekend as we get set for the SEC tournament coming up in our town. What do you make of this matchup between two teams that really need this win heading into this tournament?
Yeah. So, well, first of all, of course, this affects, and right now it's kind of a mess here with these standings. I know that if Vanderbilt wins, they are in good shape to get that double bye, I think, to be the 4. And I don't have all the tiebreakers in front of me, but obviously Tennessee is in the mix. I mean, right now, if it ended right now, Tennessee would be the 4. They're a game ahead of all. So obviously, if Tennessee wins, they're going to get the double bye. I think it's not as simple as whoever wins gets it. If Vanderbilt wins, they need help from other people. I mean, Vanderbilt, Missouri, Texas A&M, Kentucky, all are 10-7. Tennessee sitting there at 11-6. So, but I think with the favorites, most of the favorites would suggest that a Vanderbilt, like if they win, a Vanderbilt win would put them over Tennessee, would force Tennessee to play on Thursday, and then Vanderbilt would get to wait until Friday. So, yeah, and that's significant, obviously, for either of these. It's very hard to – you want to try to make a run in the SEC tournament, very hard to do 4-4 or certainly 5-5. Big advantage to be able to wait until Friday, rest, do a little practice, and then start playing then. And, of course, it's just the rivalry aspect of it too. That was a big win for Tennessee. That was kind of a slap in the face to Vanderbilt. A lot of Tennessee fans in the building. So, you know that those guys are going to want to return the favor this weekend.
Yep, for sure. And, both of these teams looking ahead here for the NCAA tournament. And again, we'll see what happens in the SEC tournament. But like Vanderbilt, needs to feel good about itself heading into this. I know Tennessee's been dealing with the Amen injury, so see what happens on that front kind of moving forward here too. But, a chance for Tennessee to pull off the sweep against Vanderbilt this weekend. And then, as both these teams venture off into the postseason, I'm just so fascinated to see, matchup wise, where this goes here and what this looks like. I mean, I'm looking at Joe, you'll be happy to know, at the matchup predictor right now on ESPN's app. It gives the Vols a 68.3% chance to win, according to ESPN analytics. So if you'd like to factor that into your bracket some way, somehow, there's your number, 68.3%, according to ESPN analytics, in favor of Tennessee.
Does ESPN know Nate Amen's playing? Because, man, that to me, that number should not exist if he's not playing and playing well.
I agree.
Well, Rick Barnes did say the other day that, basically he said, if this was an NCAA tournament game, he would have played. So,
yeah.
And that's great news. So, again, we need to get rid of high ankle sprain if it's not a high ankle sprain. This is not a high ankle sprain if that's the case, which is great. I mean, that's great news. But by definition, that's a week's injury, not a day's injury, unless you're Patrick Mahomes, and it's an hour's injury. On the Vanderbilt front, by the way, we do have official word that Frankie Collins is gone. He is gone from the team. So, yeah, Vanderbilt fans, I know, are mad at him and think that he just basically shut it down to get another year. That is possible. That may have happened. It could, we had Joey Dwyer on. Fair point to make that he did come back, practice, had some kind of setback. So it's not like he didn't have a real injury, and we just don't know the actual details on the severity of the injury. But obviously that's a tough blow for Vanderbilt. It's also probably good to just know it, not have the uncertainty anymore. He's moved on, and so their depth is strapped, but Duke Miles back, and that should start to pay off more than it has so far.
By the way, I'd like to point out Mark on the text line has now invited me to the family reunion, so I have made it. It feels like a pity invite to me. Just going to throw that out there, but I have now been invited to the family reunion, so good to know.
Okay, well, we can mosh. We can both mosh for that Creed. And that's about right. Creed to me, one of my favorite scenes in Spinal Tap is when they're, and you guys wouldn't know, I guess, which is very sad. Or Ian, would you know? No. It's actually very depressing.
I'd have to rewatch.
Okay, so you have watched it.
I have seen it before.
Okay. Yeah. All right, that's fine then. Well, one of my favorite scenes is, they at amusement park. It's it says pet show and Spinal Tap, or no, puppet show and Spinal Tap. We were supposed to have top billing. What are we doing here? They got all mad about it. That's about what Creed should be like. They should be playing at Dollywood in tandem with a puppet show or someone's family reunion. That's
Dollywood
right.
Is a great place. First off,
of course it is.
They should be honored to play at Dollywood.
Absolutely.
Should anyone else?
Any Busch Gardens, name your amusement park. They are the type of band that would play along with maybe some parrots.
Wilson County Fair.
The
parrots.
Some different kinds of shows, like a variety hour. We got puppets, we got parrots, we got Michael Jackson impersonator. I don't know, we got all kinds of stuff, and we got Creed.
Here's a cheetah, and here's Creed opening up for the cheetah.
Oh, oops! Well, we let the cheetah loose on Creed. Sorry.
615-737-1025 is our phone number. We'll react to more of Joe's disrespect to one of the great bands of our time and get back into the Predators and the NHL trade deadline. Got the Rex rant coming up later this hour. TD will be with us at 8 o'clock. All that ahead. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game. Today, Vanderbilt baseball taking on North Dakota State at 4:30. Catch all the action on Sports Talk 830 and the Game Nashville app. Coverage presented by Gary Force Acura. Also, Right Time HVAC, Cromwell Media teaming up to bring comfort back to your home. Is your heating system struggling or completely out of commission following the winter storms? If so, nominate yourself for the Right Time Home Rescue. Tell us your story. Enter today at thegamenashville.com/HVAC, and you could win a new HVAC system installed by Right Time HVAC. Right Time HVAC, locally owned and operated. There's never a wrong time to call Right Time. Taking your thoughts on our text line. Keith on the text line, Joe, says he saw David Hasselhoff perform at the Tennessee Valley Fair in Knoxville back in the 90s and that he wore a Peyton Manning jersey.
Hasselhoff did. Hasselhoff wore the Peyton Manning.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
That's absolutely amazing. Where okay.
Peyton Manning?
Tennessee Valley Fair in Knoxville. I remember Hasselhoff he had like this. Hasselhoff was like, he was like a big German pop star, right? Like his music was huge in Germany, wasn't it? Yeah.
I believe that is correct.
I think that sounds right. Yeah.
Yeah. He was like, what was that band? What was the dude who did Rock Me Amadeus? Falco. Rock Me Amadeus, baby. I need some Falco today. Please, Ian. Please rock some Falco today.
I can find that.
And I mean, I guess if we can find any Hasselhoff too, I don't know. I remember seeing it on TV, like it was on MTV. They did some feature on it, and I was like, my God, this song's terrible, and still better than Creed.
Jeez. NHL trade deadline is today. We've seen 4 moves so far from the Predators. Michael Bunting, Nick Blankenburg, Michael McCarron, Cole Smith, all have been traded. Yesterday, Bunting goes to Dallas for a 3rd-round pick. So add him to the list. You know, all of those guys, Joe, as I mentioned earlier in the show, are on expiring contracts. So, I mean, I look at a guy like Eric Halla today, also on an expiring contract. My guess is he's probably going to get traded. So we'll see what happens on that front. A lot of discussion about Ryan O'Reilly today. Continue to take your thoughts on that. Joe, one texter says, not trading Ryan O'Reilly would tarnish any legacy that Barry Trotz has in Nashville, and that's a shame. I think that's probably a little dramatic. Like, I don't know that it would tarnish any legacy that Barry Trotz has in Nashville. I mean, I think the coaching legacy will always
that's intact,
be there. But I do think it would highlight for a lot of people, not everybody, but it would highlight for a lot of people of a general manager tenure that just has not gone well.
No, look, it's you have to separate the two things. You have to. So first of all, just set that aside. But I heard DVD yesterday, and they're talking about all the different possibilities. And I heard Willie say, like, you know, you don't have to do it, you know, you don't have to. And I agree in terms of you don't have to, like, if there's not a great deal, then I agree. Like, you don't trade him just because you're like, we need to trade him. Right. But I'm just, this is, unfortunately, we don't have this information. I just reject that there won't be a deal good enough. I can't buy that.
I agree.
You look at the picture, you look at what's out there, and again, you compare him to Trocheck and different people, and you look at what some people have fetched out there. Some 1st-round picks flying around for some of these guys. It just doesn't add up. And so I'm operating under that assumption, which is that there are offers good enough that you have to jump at if you're Barry Trotz. I just like you are here. And again, this is his last day where him being the GM, right? Like is really a significant, now you start getting in the transition and who they're going to hire and all that stuff. Like, you have to do the best thing for the Nashville Predators. To me, that it's not deferring to Ryan O'Reilly, who doesn't have a no movement clause, giving up a big haul so that he can be here next year and perhaps beyond and be like a really good player and a leader and all that stuff. Like, that's not more valuable than a prospect who could become a big time key player for you in the near future, along with picks that continue to help you. I don't think it's close.
Well, and the bottom line is, like, you know, all the guys they moved so far have expiring contracts, But I think it's pretty clear at this point, Joe. Like they've tried to thread the needle here of remaining competitive and having your young guys come up and develop and eventually be a part of that next core. And it just, it hasn't worked. Now, they're still technically alive for the playoffs, right? Like they got the win last night. I think as of this morning, what are they, 3 points back? I'll go look at the standings, but I think that's right. I think they're 3 points back. So, they're technically still in a playoff race here. But, like, the last 2 years, I go back to the July 1st, 2024. If you would have told us that by the trade deadline in 2026, we'd be talking about 1 year being an absolute disaster, a second year starting off like an absolute disaster, and then you getting back into the mix, but still by the time the deadline comes around, you're not in a playoff spot and you're selling off all of your expiring contracts, like that's a disappointment. I'm sorry. Like if you would have told us that when they signed Stamkos and Marchessault and Shea and all these guys, if you'd have told Barry Trotz that on that day, that would have been a huge disappointment. There's no way you can convince me otherwise. So I say all that to say, like, it hasn't worked. So there's an opportunity here, not just to, start nibbling around the edges, but to rip some of the Band-Aid off, right? And begin to really shape this thing for the future and to be able to maximize. And I keep coming back to this point, maximize on an asset in Ryan O'Reilly that you just haven't had the opportunity to do a whole lot in your career or in the history of your franchise when it comes to deadline day deals. His value is at an all-time high right now. And yeah, like we've heard from people today say, you could still trade him in the offseason and you can trade him in next deadline. And all that's true. You can. There will be plenty of interest in Ryan O'Reilly this offseason if you want to trade him then. There will be, I'm sure, plenty of interest in Ryan O'Reilly next deadline if you want to trade him then. But if you're talking about maximizing the value, which is what I care about in this discussion, it's now. That's when it is.
It will not. You're not gonna match what you wouldn't think what he could get right now at those times, right?
Yes.
Again, there's teams that should be desperate to get him right now. I can make a case that Ryan O'Reilly can put a team over the top with all the different things he can do and the way he's playing offensively.
Yeah, I agree. And I think a lot of teams around the league agree too, right? Like that's the main thing. Like, the Trocheck comparison is interesting because they're similar, I guess, type of players. I think O'Reilly's better than Vincent Trocheck is. He's certainly having a better offensive year than Vincent Trocheck is. Now, Trocheck is 32, so that's something to keep an eye on. Like he is a few years younger than Ryan O'Reilly is. And look, Trocheck's a really good player. Like he was just on Team USA and they won a gold medal. So it's not like Trocheck's not a really good player. Sure. He is. But I think they're pretty similar, right? And there's no doubt O'Reilly, like we had Wyshynski on the other day, and he started talking about O'Reilly could be a really good third line center. I understand what he's saying there. The problem with that is like he's much more than that this year. Like he's 59 points in 61 games. And I understand, like, depending on the team and where he would be traded to, like he's definitely probably not slotting into like a number one center role wherever he gets traded to, but he could be your two. And if he's your three, think about Ryan O'Reilly, the way he's playing right now is your third center. Like it's insane to think about. And that's why the interest level would be where it is. So I think the offers, again, without knowing specifically who's calling and what it looks like, you got a tough time convincing me that the offers either to this point already or certainly today aren't going to be extremely, extremely significant. Like we've reached the time in the NHL trade deadline, Joe, where teams are done screwing around. They're trying to get a deal done.
Exactly. Yeah. And you would think, again, you got multiple teams that are trying to one up. This is the best case scenario if you're selling. If you have an asset like that, you said it earlier, and I was actually going to ask you this question. You said, like, very rarely in their history have they had an asset like this at this time. Like, what would be what would be the most comparable situation? I mean, they obviously haven't really been sellers a ton in their history. Like, what would be what comes to mind as a situation comparable to this?
I mean, I don't really know that they've had one. I mean, look, they have made as somebody brought up yesterday, they've made a deal at the deadline before as a seller that worked out unbelievably for them. I mean, the Erat for Forsberg trade.
Right.
I mean, it's an all-time fleecing. But like Martin Erat was a good player. He was not Ryan O'Reilly.
Yeah,
he
wasn't.
He
the
was
whole
not,
league wasn't desperate to have Martin Erat.
Right. Like, and he also wasn't a center. So I don't know that they've ever at the deadline, the combination of the trade deadline and you're selling off and you have a center of this caliber that's in demand. I don't know that they've ever had that combination all line up together at the same time. Matter of fact, thinking about it quickly through my head, they haven't. Like, I don't think they have had that combination all line up at the same time.
Yeah, like someone threw out Ekholm. I mean, when the soft, when Trotz came in, they get some great return back on some guys, and he was attractive.
This will be significantly more than that.
Yeah, that doesn't match up to this. And it's just like I'm just not gonna. I can't buy. Just what the deals weren't good enough. I can't buy that if he doesn't get moved today. I don't think that's the real world.
Yeah, there's a lot of votes for Ekholm coming in. Like the value for, and it's good. That's a good comparison, but like the value for O'Reilly will be significantly higher. Significantly higher.
Got to do it. You just got to do it. I hope you're wrong, Robby.
I hope I am too. 615-737-1025. Our phone number. The Rex Rant with Joe Rexrode coming up next. TD with us at 8 o'clock. All that ahead. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game.
Sometimes he wakes up on the wrong side of the bed. And sometimes he's just, well, Joe.
Awkward moment. Let's do it.
This is the Rex Rant, now on Robby and Rexrode.
Your kid is not as good as you think he is.
The runner, gout.
I think I have a foot thing.
College baseball season's back. We can get back into your feet.
Who's the texter who seems to really be interested in my feet?
If a chick's got jacked up feet, I'm out.
Gross, my toes.
Big feet shower out there.
I'm checking the feet out.
I married my cousin last year. Family ties. Those matter. Blood's thicker in the water.
Hold on there, negative, Mr. Negative. I'm talking to my good friend Joey Rexrode. All right, you pipe down.
Yeah, for a certain price, I will put a picture of my feet on social media. Just let me know.
I like when you call him Joey.
Let's get back to my feet.
It is time for the Rex Rant with Joe Rexrode. Check it out every morning here on the program. Joe, with this electric song in the background, I turn things over to you.
Oh, you got the German version even. Oh my goodness. I mean, he did an English version that was on MTV, but this is the real stuff right here, baby. Ethan on the text line said last segment, he said, Joe, I'm listening to Rock Me Amadeus for the first time in my life, and my God, this is a banger. Dude, totally. Meanwhile, I think Falco also had something to do with one of the great songs of all time, which is
I can't believe we're talking about Falco.
Wait, what is it? It's After the Fire, but then Falco made a version too. Help me with the song. The text song.
I don't know what it's called.
Have you ever heard that song?
I think so, yes.
Yeah, it's a jam. And the video's pretty awesome too, if I remember correctly.
I haven't seen the video.
God, now this is really gonna bother me. Okay, hold on. After the Fire. It's I mean, this one this song you 100% know. Oh yeah, Dirk Thompson. Oh my God, I'm so excited about 80s music. I'm just wrecking the studio. I mean, you know Dirk Commissar, right?
Yes.
Okay, we all know that song. I could use a little bit of that today too, Ian. Please, thank you. Thank you, Dennis. I knew
we don't have that many segments left.
I mean, I'm just saying one intro. Can I get a little Dirk Commissars in town? Just for one intro. I forgot what I was going to talk about. Oh yeah, let's talk about. Well, I'm going to bring it to basketball when I can.
Sure.
We got more stuff going on with the Tennessee Lady Vols. Did you see this last night?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So you've got. Let me make sure that I get the correct time on this. You've got. I mean, you just had a player leave the team, and again, we talked about it yesterday. It's like, well, you gotta keep in mind what exactly that means. There was some defensive Kim Caldwell there, and I'm not saying there isn't here either, but man, this does not look good for her or them. You're talking about Talasia Cooper. From what I can tell, and I missed this. I watched like the fourth quarter when they kept showing Talasia Cooper on the bench. And again, she's the most talented player on the bench over and over again. They kept showing her as Tennessee's down like 10, 12, and, and just beat by Alabama to fall to 16-13 for the first time that they've lost their first game in the SEC tournament since 2017. They've also lost 7 straight, which someone tweeted is the first, like you're going back to like Pat Summitt before there was an NCAA women's basketball. Like you're going back to you're going back 50 years. So, I mean, it's 6:27 left in the third. She had a bad closeout. She had a bad turnover. This is again, their only all SEC player. Now, what you don't know is, you don't know, what was said, right? So Caldwell is asked about this. She said about Cooper, who again, so she sat the whole fourth quarter. Could that make the difference? I mean, I think it could. Like if your best player doesn't play in the last 16 minutes, it's a game that you're down about 10 or so. Yeah, I mean, you could see how that could make a difference. I mean, she is a very talented player. The quote from Caldwell is, quote, "We just wanted to give her some air. I think her emotions can get running and just wanted to get her outside and with the staff members so she could breathe," end quote. A reporter saw Cooper with a staff member going to the bus as the team was still in the locker room talking about the game. So So again, it's like I don't want to. I don't. There's things we don't know. I mean, I think as a coach, sometimes like you have to put your foot down, right? Like if someone crosses a line, then you have to, or if someone. But it's like you get into if someone isn't doing exactly what you want, is it just that, and then you're benching them? All I know is this is now a bleep storm, okay, around this program, and Charlie Cream. I don't know. I always go back and forth. Bracketologist for ESPN women's basketball. He's got them now in the 8-9. They're not going to miss the tournament. I know some people think they might. They're not. They still have a lot of good wins. Their resumes, an NCAA tournament resume, they're going to be in the tournament. But now they're going to be like an 8-9 probably, and at best get smoked by one of these 1 seeds, which is like UConn, UCLA. Here's a wild one. It won't happen because they wouldn't do this, but can you imagine like Vanderbilt's the 1 seed and Tennessee comes here as like, they're 8 or 9? I mean, they won't do it because they're both in the SEC, but just saying that right now is like where the 2 programs are. I'm trying to keep an open mind, but to me, it's like you sort of are inviting this controversy, or it sort of seems that way as a coach. Again, I don't know everything. I just know that she's lost this team, and it's year 2, and we just had the Danny White, to me, overboard defense of her talking about we knew this was going to take forever. It's going in a very bad direction.
It's a disaster of a second year, and it's looking like it's going to require pretty close to a complete roster overhaul. I mean, that's what it looks like. So then the question becomes, I mean, is that the right way to go? I mean, I don't think she's going to get fired after the second year, but
especially with what Danny just said. I mean, that would be shocking, right?
But it's just, I mean, you've lost 7 in a row now overall, and more than anything, it's just like there's clearly obvious tension between her and her team, right? And that's, again, some of that I think is okay. And when this started, her call, I think, the first big event was her basically calling out her team, right?
For quitting.
In the post-game press conference for quitting.
Yep.
And at that time, I think I said, I don't really mind that. Like every now and then, I think it's fine to be able to do that. But there have been so many things that have happened since then of just, you have to ask a question, like, has she completely lost them? And if you completely lost them, I mean, I guess it's a good time to be a college coach, because if you want to, you could just get rid of all of them. I mean, it just kind of is, or they'll leave. But it's just, I don't know. Like I'm starting to really, I think, thinking that this is just going to magically turn around and work out next year. It's becoming harder and harder for me to get there.
Yeah, I mean, you can't lose everybody. I mean, you have to have some retention and continuity. There's some players clearly going to be gone, and Tennessee can go in the portal and get good players. But I mean, this is also this is a sign of the times, and it's a sign of the times when it's like you have to now get out there and go get players from other programs who are veterans, who are really good, who are established. That means you aren't with them all the way from coming out of high school. I'm going to take care of your kid. We're going to have 4 years together. It's just so relationships are harder, and she does.
By the way, players on other teams see this too, Joe, and they're like, do I really want to go play for Kim Caldwell right now?
Well, exactly. And another thing about this, I mean, Andrea Carter, who I think does a really good job on ESPN, and I think, usually I don't see her being very critical of people, but the stuff she said, and obviously she has connections to this program. She played for this program. It didn't sound. It sounded to me like someone who got some information from people around Tennessee who are not impressed with some of the stuff that Caldwell's doing. I mean, that's how I read it. Like, this is not. I mean, it was somewhat critical of Caldwell, and that's not a good sign either.
No, it's looking like it's not going to end very well. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. TD will be with us coming up next. We'll get into all things Titans with him as NFL free agency set to open up next week. Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game.
ESPN's Turon Davenport, Talking Titans, now on Robby and Rexrode on ESPN 102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
It is that time of the week. Turon Davenport is with us here on the program on our phone line driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Turon Davenport, fueled by Parman Energy. Visit ParmanEnergy.com, your one-stop petroleum solution. Ian Safar adding to the mix this week. TD, what do we think of this new mashup that Ian's put together?
Well, that song used to be one that I loved, but has now become a fighting song because Edwin Diaz went to the Dodgers.
He sure did.
No longer with
So you're trolling him. Ian, you're trolling him. You're trolling TD?
That was a little baseball opening kind of theme so far we got going on today.
But I appreciate what you did there.
It's good stuff. We got to do something about these Dodgers, TD. I mean, it's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous.
Next thing you know, did you see the meme where it said breaking news, the Dodgers have signed former Jerusalem pitcher Jesus Christ?
Yeah. He's going to come in out of the bullpen. Yeah, good stuff.
Great setup.
Really looking forward to that. So, TD, free agency next week, and we're going to get into a bunch of moves, obviously not only with the Titans, but throughout the league. Turon Davenport is the general manager of the team. What's the number one target for TD next week if you're the Titans?
Oh, good question. Number one target next week for me, I'm going to go ahead and go John Franklin Myers. I think my team needs to – I need to improve the pass rush. I need to improve the guys up front, so I'm going to go there. But wide receiver is a close second. I just am a little hesitant to go to $18 million for Wan'Dale Robinson and definitely hesitant to go to $27 million for Alec Pierce.
What about Tyler Linderbaum, TD? Obviously, Biotis signs with the Chargers. I find that situation a little bit puzzling, the whole thing of him being released and everything. But Linderbaum, obviously a guy who's going to get paid a lot. Should the Titans be willing to pay a lot and get into the heavy competition for him?
I think they should be willing to poke around, but just going off of what I've been told, he's out of their price range. So, I mean, again, I would poke around. I think you may be able to come in a little bit better with Connor McGovern or Luke Fortner. But that's just the way I look at it.
TD, on the Pierce front, I mean, you brought up, the numbers that he may reach this offseason next week in free agency. Like, when you watch him play, do you think that he can be like a 75, 80 catch guy? Because, I understand the deep threat that he is. I mean, the yards per catch is a great number. I mean, he's flirting with 22 yards per catch. But, 47 catches as a career high, and you're going to pay him like $20-some-odd million. It's hard for me to match up those two things. So when you watch him play, how much room for growth do you see with Alec Pierce?
Yeah, I think when you look at his numbers, I know the 47 catches is not too attractive, but you got to look at that 20 yards per catch. And, I mean, that's like the Sean Jackson level, deep threat. So
sure,
that is something, and that's a legit thing that affects defenses. But I think a lot of people forget he has a 40-inch vertical, right? The Joker's like 6'3". So you could back shoulder and you could, just fade it up to him as well. And he actually knows how to use that speed, you know what I mean, to sell that 9 route and break it off and snap back to the quarterback on curls and comebacks. So, yeah, there's room for improvement. It's just a matter of how the Colts have used him. For the most part, they tell him to go deep, and they have Michael Pittman work underneath. I tell you what's interesting, though. You got a very similar player to Michael Pittman in Alec Iomanner, so you could kind of do the same thing. That price tag is a lot of money for a guy that's not going to officially just pure, unadulterated number one receiver for you, and that's where my issue is.
So you mentioned that price tag, and then also Wan'Dale Robinson's price tag. Do you? I guess first of all, if you took money out of it, which of those players would you rather have? And then also, do you think the Titans need to do something significant, whether it's one of those two, I don't know exactly what's going to happen with like a Jawan Jennings. I mean, there's not a lot of other great possibilities, but comparing those two just in terms of what they would mean to this team and then just the importance of doing something in free agency.
Yeah, it's easily Alec Pierce. I think what Wan'Dale Robinson gives – Robinson's a good player, but I feel like it's not overly unique. I think you could find a lot of receivers that give you 90 to 93 receptions off of 140 targets. Like, that's not astronomical. That's not something that's completely different. And there's no slight on Robinson's game in any way. I'm just saying what he's doing can be duplicated by various players. But when you have a guy that's stretching the field, averaging 21 yards a catch, like that's different. You know what I mean? But it's not different to the point where I pay 27 to 30 million a year for it.
TD, it's going to be interesting to see what happens on the Kenneth Walker front and what that deal ends up looking like when he makes it to free agency, whether it's back in Seattle or elsewhere. Obviously Jeremiah Love was in the Titans building yesterday, and it was all over social media, and Titans fans are in love with Jeremiah Love right now. How open would you be if you're the Titans to pursuing a guy like Kenneth Walker, and how high do you think you're willing to go on the running back front if you're the Titans?
Well, here's the thing. Walker's not a true 3-down back, so you got to be careful. I would, in the $9 to $10 million a year range, that's probably where I would go. But you got to have somebody that could come in on third downs, because you look, even when Zach Charbonnet and they got hurt, they had someone else coming in on third down. So if that's the issue with Walker, I mean, to his credit, he's the first running back to win the MVP since 1998 when Terrell Davis did. So, you got to account for that. He's an important part of the team. But, if Seattle's going to let him walk, I would be wary about signing him myself. You know what I mean? Because, he was a key part of that offense, and already they know what they have there. But I wouldn't go there. If I was going to sign a guy, it would be, Tyler Algiers, Brian Robinson Jr., that type. But I think that they should definitely strongly consider drafting Love.
Okay, well, that's where I was going next. You got Love. Okay, so obviously we don't know what's going to happen in front of them. Love is a great player. Some people think maybe he could be the best player in the draft. I still think like if David Bailey were there, I think he's going to be really good in this league. But do you think Love is the best football player in the draft? And then also there's some buzz about this too, TD, of course, out there. Do you think that, do you take that as, do you believe that the Titans are that interested? I mean, obviously they're interested. Or is it possible that there's some smoke screening going on here?
I think they're interested. I think they're making it a point to let everybody know. So that kind of puts the bat signal up. Hey, Washington, Saints, Chiefs, you guys want them, you're going to have to come see us. You know what I mean? I think that's the message that they're putting out there. So it's a combination of the two. But, I mean, the interest is genuine, in my opinion, and it should be, because, I mean, this guy he's probably the closest to a sure thing in this draft class.
No, I would agree. And again, TD, as you know, and we've talked about, they need a lot of things. But, I mean, I'm in the business of adding really good football players to my team too. So if that's Jeremiah Love, so be it, man. I'll roll with Jeremiah Love, like a running back to that level that people think he could be. I know it's not a premium position, as they say, but you're telling me Jeremiah Love can't help Cam Ward?
Yeah, and there's a premium position, a premium thing, scoring points.
Yep.
This dude scores touchdowns. He puts the ball in the end zone. So I don't care what position he plays. If he could do that, that's something that you have to cover.
So I got a texter who's yelling at you. He says, John Franklin Myers over Trey Hendrickson? You got to be kidding me. I mean, we haven't asked about Trey. I've just sort of looked at Hendrickson as he's he's a win now, short window guy, and he's
Right.
probably going to go to a
Right.
place. But I don't know. Do you think
Right.
the Titans should?
Tell that Chester to check the internet and see what his age is. The Titans are not in a position where they're going to win now. You don't sign a veteran that's. I'm not going to say he's at the back end of his career, but it doesn't match up. See, so many times you have people that get so caught up in names and just want to throw names. This isn't John Madden football, right? There's a plan. There's a program how they're doing this. They're not built to win, to turn it around immediately. I mean, if you're gonna go after a guy that's an established pass rusher, in that echelon, then trade for Max Crosby. That's what you do. But even in that situation, you don't give up 2 first-round picks or what they're looking to get for him. So you asked me what free agent would make the most sense. What I would do is John Franklin Myers. You could go ahead, like I said. You want to sign a 30-plus-year-old pass rusher? You be my guest. But here's another thing to remember. Pass rushers typically don't hit the market. The Bengals are starving for a pass rush, and guess what? They're allowing him to hit the market.
What? By the way, he's just coming off an injury too. Like, yeah, there's the age and then the injury that he's coming off of. So, like, I understand that he's been a very productive player. I don't think at this stage it just makes a whole lot of sense for the Tennessee Titans. So we'll see what happens on that front. TD is going to be
arrogant ignorance.
There we go.
I remember when
I love
I remember who that was invented for.
I love that phrase.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. TD, great stuff as always, man. Going to be a busy week next week. Looking forward to your coverage of it. Looking forward to talking to you next week. And have a good weekend, man. We'll see you soon.
All right, you too. You guys take it easy.
Thanks, TD.
Absolutely. Teron Davenport every Friday morning at 8 o'clock here on the show. Fueled by Parman Energy. Visit ParmanEnergy.com, your one-stop petroleum solution. We'll react to what TD had to say. We got weekend winners coming up at 8:30. All that ahead. Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. 94.9 The Fan, your home for Vanderbilt women's basketball. Coverage presented by Ponce Law. Today, the Commodores taking on Ole Miss in the SEC women's basketball tournament. Tip-off at 5 o'clock, pregame at 4:45. Ponce Law, injured in an accident? Call Ponce Law at 615-244-4321. Ponce Law, justice for all. Big Falco Day on the program here today. I can't see Rexrode, but I imagine he's just vibing right now.
I don't see that. I must say, was that definitely Falco? Because after the fire, there's two versions of that song, but that was
It says Falco
okay,
on here.
there we go.
U.S. official video on YouTube.
Nice, but that was also in German. So there you go. We played the real stuff today. Now we just need Hasselhoff, and it's a complete Friday. No, never mind. Don't play Hasselhoff, please.
Yeah, we'll be okay. Mental image is fine. We'll just leave it at that. What did you make of TD there? Now, the one thing that is pretty interesting there that Trevor is just very upset about on the text line. We talked about Linderbaum, and he said, from some of the information he's got, Linderbaum may be out of their price range. And Trevor says, most money to spend in free agency. How in the bleep is he out of your price range? 25-year-old, 3-time Pro Bowler. Overpay the man. This is from Trevor on the text line. What do you make of the Linderbaum discussion here, who, if he does make it to free agency next week, he's going to end up making a lot of money?
How on the all caps fart is he out of your price range? Well, I actually tend to agree with Trevor. If you think he's that guy, would you not want to have a great center? What would that do because obviously Cushenberry just didn't work out as hoped.
Yeah.
What would that do for the middle of that line to have a great center next to Skoronski? And then, you probably can get away with, nobody can have great players at all 5 positions. That's very rare if ever the case in the NFL. So you're great there. You're great at left guard. You hope that you take a step at right tackle.
Oh,
pretty strong.
I think that's somebody brought this up earlier, and it's something that I think you do have to consider, as you're constructing your football team, because it's easy to look at it right now and say, well, you got all this cap space, you got all this money to spend, just go do it. And he's a great player, and I understand that. If they sign Tyler Linderbaum, I won't necessarily have a problem with it. But you are, Joe, about to extend Peter Skoronski. I mean, that's going to cost a hefty chunk of change. Do you want to tie up all of that money in the interior of your offensive line when you're talking a guard and a center? I'm just throwing the question out there. If you're Mike Borgonzi and you're trying to map out what your dollars and how you're expending your resources here, is that the way you want to do it? Now, that's the one side of the argument. Joe, the other side of the argument is, well, who in the heck else are they paying right now? And by the time Linderbaum's contract comes up, how many other positions you're going to have to pay? I mean, you're hoping that J.C. Latham is going to play good enough over the next couple of years where you pay him top tackle money, but that's not a guarantee right now. You don't have I guess there's a chance Chim Dike could turn into, some all-pro wide receiver in addition to being an all-pro punt returner. But you don't have a young receiver that you're worried about paying at the moment. And maybe that changes in this next draft or two. But I mean, the bottom line is you just don't have a ton of guys that you have to pay right now either.
Yeah. And I understand the argument for not putting too much in a non-premium area. But again, if you're going to play that game, then we can again talk about, yes, maybe Jeremiah Love's the best talent, but some of those other positions that you're bypassing are positions that you either draft high or you're going to get leftovers. You could think of it that way too. I mean, the premium position thing does it comes into effect. So that's what we're talking about in this. I'm good being great on both lines, and I promise you everything else gets better if you're great on both lines. If you can be really good to great. They've been terrible, as we know, on the offensive line. Yeah. So now I also will say, TD threw out some other guys. If I'm McGovern, if you can pay less and not have that big of a step down, and you have money to, then that's fine. But I guess I just wouldn't disqualify going after Linderbaum for that reason.
Built to pound.
Thank you, Falco.
But you just load up on offensive line, draft the running back. And Joe, let's get back to what's made this franchise successful. Turn around, hand that ball off to Eddie George, hand that ball off to Chris Johnson, hand it off to Derrick Henry. Let's go again. Get Jeremiah Love in there, and let's go the 4 times the charm.
Hey, I'm not mad if that's how it goes. If you're going to do that, you have to be talking about one of the top weapons in the NFL. Like really,
yes,
and he may be that. And if that's what he is, and certainly as great as the 40 was in Indy, he definitely, like some of those drills, the pass catching, I mean, it looked pretty good out there. Like, I mean, there's no question he's a 3-down back and he does everything well, but you got to have, like, he's got to be a home run hitter who changes your offense. If he's as good as the top backs in the league, like, look, Barkley, I mean, yeah, he didn't win anything with the Giants because they sucked. But then he goes to the Eagles, and he was as much a factor as anything in that year that they won it all. So that a great player at that position can absolutely matter and can lead to winning at a high level.
It can. There's no doubt. But to your point, that's the decision that they're going to be faced with, of potentially a great player at running back. And who knows? I mean, I don't know what their evaluation of a guy like I don't know, David Bailey is going to be. If they think he's a great player at edge rusher and there's not that much difference, well, then the position's probably going to win out at that point. But that's all going to depend on their evaluation. Like, when you think about David Bailey at the NFL, how good are we talking? Like, how good do you think he's going to be?
I watch him play, and I'm like, he's going to be a double-digit sack guy in the NFL multiple times, like several times.
It's hard for me to pass up, man.
Yeah. So, like, compare him to, so the last double-digit sack guy here was second-round pick Harold Landry, who's a good player. I mean, I don't think there's any comparison in terms of what you're seeing in college. As we know, in the NFL, so many times players show one thing in college, and then it's just not what they are in the NFL. But, I can't, there's fair criticisms of, like, run stopping and things like that. And he has to get better, but he has gotten better. And he has all the tools, and he has the production against good competition to tell me he's going to do that. I'll be very surprised if he's not a double-digit sack guy for quite a few years in this league. That especially in a draft where apparently there's only like 10 first-round grades for all the players. I think that's awfully hard to pass up.
615-737-1025, our phone number. Weekend Winners is coming up next. You're listening to Robby and Rexrode, 1025 The Game.
It's time to pick some winners. We hope. Robby and Rexrode have weekend winners for you. Now
On ESPN.
1025 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
It is time for weekend winners. We will get to that there in just a second. Joe, I do want to pass along quickly the latest update on the Ryan O'Reilly front. This is from Pierre LeBrun just a few minutes ago. It says, latest on Ryan O'Reilly. There hasn't been a trade offer yet on the table for Nashville to consider seriously. Given the price paid for Nick Waugh yesterday, it's at least a first rounder and a top prospect, if not more, for a team to get in on O'Reilly. O'Reilly could very well stay put, which I think is his preference, but teams are calling. So that's the latest update on the O'Reilly front from Pierre LeBrun, Joe.
Okay. Well, anything is good. Any movement, that anything that's not just total silence, like, that's not happening, is good, right?
It does line up with I've been saying first rounder and top prospect is where it starts.
Yep, no doubt.
That kind of adds up. So we'll see what happens on that front. All right, standings update on the weekend winners front. Ian's killing it so far. He was 3-3 last week. Rexrode also 3-3 with his lock. I went 2-4. Overall, Ian 8-4, 2-0 on his locks, 10 points. I am 7-5, 2-0 on my locks, 9 points. Rexrode, after a bad first week, rebounded last week, 4-8 overall, 1-1 on his locks, 5 points overall. Ian in first place, which means Ian is up first. Ian, Preds and Sabres coming up on Saturday. Sabres a 1.5 goal favorite in that one. Who you got in that one?
Yeah. I'd like to take the Preds, but given the whole situation, I think I'm going to take Buffalo. They're kind of picking it up a notch, pushing for the playoffs. Preds, impressive last night versus Boston for sure with the rebound. But
Yep.
I think I'm going to take the Sabres -1.5.
Sabres lock. I'm locking down on Buffalo.
Guarantee.
And that is a combination of, I think when you got as many young guys in the lineup as the Predators have, and who knows, could have more at the end of the day, I think there's a lot of inconsistency that's going to come with that. And the other thing is Buffalo's playing extremely well. Like Buffalo is really good. So I'll go Buffalo -1.5. I'll lock down on that. Rexrode, who we got?
Well, you Debbie Downers, give me the Preds. I don't care who they got in their lineup. They are fighting. They are ticked off. And by golly, Jonathan Marchessault has a no movement clause if you haven't heard.
He does.
I'm going with the Preds.
I mean, we all picked the Stars last week, and that did not happen.
That's right.
They won the game, but they did not cover. Vanderbilt and Tennessee, we're going straight up in this one. Game in Knoxville coming up tomorrow. We'll see, what the status for Nate Ament looks like in this game. Joe, I'm actually going to go Vanderbilt in this one. I think Vanderbilt goes on the road, and they pull off the win to even up the series at 1 apiece this year. Both teams winning on the road. I'll take the Doors tomorrow on the road. Rexrode, who we got?
Vols lock.
Wow.
Guarantee.
And that's, I don't know about Nate Ament, but Vanderbilt's not playing well. They're not playing well, and especially they're not playing well away from home. And at some point needs to end, but I got to see it to believe it now. I don't like how they're playing. I don't like how they're playing defensively. I think the Vols, in a good game, but win by 4 to 6 points.
Ian Safar, Tennessee and Vanderbilt tomorrow straight up.
This is a tough one. I've been going back and forth here for a little bit because you guys have both made pretty good points. Ament will be, if he plays, will not be 100%. Probably safe to assume. Vandy, as Joe mentioned, struggling lately. Their record after starting out the season very well has kind of come back to earth, which is a little bit worrisome. It's in Knoxville. I don't know. Pick them. I guess because it's at home, I'll take the Vols. Maybe by a bucket or two. I don't feel good about this one at all.
Going with the Vols. Should be a tight one. That's why the straight up one is an interesting bet. We go to the individual portion of the program. 4 individual selections today. Rexrode, your first individual pick.
Huge one tonight in college basketball. Miami of Ohio. We've had some controversy. Bruce Pearl.
The hater.
The hater. I actually got Bruce Pearl on the phone the other day, and he said people are taking my quotes out of context. So I don't know. He says he wants Miami of Ohio in. People think he's trying to, help his son get the Auburn Tigers in. Regardless, this is the last game of the regular season. If Miami wins at Ohio to go to 31-0, to me, they are a lock to get in the NCAA tournament. But if they lose this game, a rivalry game, on the road, Battle of the Bricks, they haven't won there, I think, in 14 years, then they, I think, have to win the MAC conference. And again, we're talking about the last undefeated team. Ohio is getting 5.5. I will take Ohio to cover while Miami wins yet another game by a bucket.
Wow. Be watching with bated breath in that one. Ohio taking on Miami.
Battle of the Bricks, baby. Maxon.
Yeah. Ohio to cover the plus 5.5 against Miami of Ohio. Ian, your first individual selection.
Okay, my hoops for tonight. Flies open. Let's go P. Minus 10.5 versus Stetson tonight.
Well, it's amazing you say that because that was going to be my first pick too. I'll take Austin P minus 10.5 against Stetson. I've seen them play in person. By God, they're going to win. So give me some Austin P action against Stetson. Ian, your second individual selection.
Okay. I have a hockey one for tonight. I don't know. Blues, a lot of controversy going on with the deadline. They've actually been playing okay. Sharks have been playing okay. I think I'm going to take San Jose minus 1.5 tonight versus the Blues.
Going San Jose minus the 1.5 against the Blues. Give me in Colorado and Dallas, which I think is going to be Nick Blankenberg's debut. The over-under is 6.5 goals in this one. Give me under. Defensive fest tonight between the Avs and the Dallas. Maybe unexpected. Under 6.5 goals between the Avs and the Stars. Joe, your second individual selection.
Another one tonight. St. John's, Seton Hall, Big East battle. Seton Hall desperately needs this win to get closer to the bubble. They're on the wrong side of the bubble. Seton Hall's minus 4.5 at home. I understand it's a bigger game for them than St. John's, but give me St. John's. If they don't go in there and flat out win, I think it's going to be like right down to the end kind of game.
So going St. John's plus 4.5 against Seton Hall. Give me the Miami Heat plus 7.5 against the Charlotte Hornets. A disrespectful line. I think the Heat played last night, but still a disrespectful line. I'll take the Heat to win outright and definitely cover the 7.5 plus 7.5 against the Hornets. Rexrode, your third individual selection.
Okay, so you guys have. I need to. My last two are bubble teams playing each other. And there's no lines, but they're like they're very. These teams are very close in quality. So you guys have to prove me just going straight up money line in these games. If you have an issue, I can change. But I got
you do whatever you want in the competition.
Well, I mean, we got to make, it's got to be agreed upon. I got Cincinnati at TCU. Cincinnati is actually playing incredibly well. They just won at Kansas. They are making a push, but TCU also has gotten themselves into the field right now. I mean, this is a huge game in the Big 12. I'm going to go TCU.
Going with the Horned Frogs against Cincinnati. We'll allow it.
Thank you.
Ian, is that okay? Or should we just excommunicate Joe from the competition?
No, we'll allow it.
I mean, I suck. Let's face it. I'm a distant third.
Ian, your third individual selection.
Okay. Didn't work out for me last week, but
guarantee
Nashville SC at home versus Minnesota. Dub.
Locking down on Nashville SC against Minnesota. He's 1-1 on the Nashville SC picks so far this year. So we'll see how this one goes.
After this, they play Miami. And I'll just give you a little hint. I don't think that's going to go so well.
You're not going to tell me dub on that one.
So I'm going to steal the win this week. Although I'm a little bit worried about the CONCACAF Champions against Miami next week. So I'm a little bit worried about an overlook here. Kind of because the whole Messi thing will get in their head, and Miami's kind of owns them anyways. So I'm a little bit worried, but have no fear.
Have no fear. It's happening this weekend. All right, Ian, close us out with your final individual selection.
I almost went NBA. I don't know. I'm torn on this Knicks Nuggets game. The Knicks are favored actually on the road. Yeah. Coming off that weird game against the Thunder, but I'm going to skip it. I'm actually doing an over-under on hockey too for tomorrow. Carolina, Edmonton, over 6.5.
There you go. Edmonton, Carolina, over 6.5.
I mean, I don't know who's goal. I don't know who the goalie is going to be for Edmonton. I don't. Carolina seems to like to score.
In 7.
So yeah, I'll go with that.
There you go. I like it. Joe, your final individual selection.
Okay, another one up for your approval. This is another bubble, absolute bracket buster bubble game Big Ten this time, Indiana at Ohio State. Ohio State has helped itself tremendously by beating Purdue. Indiana fading, but they need it more. Give me the Buckeyes.
They make all these games with lines on them,
If
Ohio State's at home, they'll be favored.
If there's a line, I will find. I mean, I just can't find a line.
Yeah, they don't do a good job on lines for basketball Saturday.
Usually we have like about half of them by now, but
there's
today
like a couple
it's
of the 11 a.m. games, and that's it. But no afternoon basketball game lines already out for tomorrow.
Really
for
weird.
I don't understand, but it's been like this for a couple weeks.
You're taking Ohio State against Indiana.
Yes.
Okay. My final selection, Panthers Red Wings tonight. Over under is at 5.5. A defensive game expected. Give me the over. I'll take over 5.5 between the Florida Panthers and the Detroit Red Wings coming up tonight in the National Hockey League. We'll see how it goes. Gentlemen, good luck this weekend in the competition.
All these over-unders. This might be the all-time over on over-unders.
It very well could be. Very well could
Fly
be.
is open. Let's go.
That's right.
We will wrap up the show. Coming up next, final thoughts on the Predators and the NHL trading deadline. Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Final segment of the day, Robby and Rexrode, 102.5 The Game. Joe, we've talked a lot about Ryan O'Reilly today. Going to be interesting to see how that goes today. The trade deadline is today, I believe 2 p.m. Central is the official time today.
Yep.
Where is the deadline.
Ends.
So we're going to find out here in a few hours. Again, Pierre LeBrun put it out there a few minutes ago, Joe, that, quote, the latest on Ryan O'Reilly, there hasn't been a trade offer yet on the table for Nashville to consider seriously. Given the price paid for Nick Waugh yesterday, it's at least a first, a top prospect, if not more, for a team to get in on O'Reilly. O'Reilly could very well stay put, which I think he would prefer, but teams are calling. Nate is calling BS on a trade offer not yet on the table for Nashville to seriously consider. I mean, it is deadline day. I mean, the Rangers have basically said the same thing of, we're not getting what we want for Vinny Trocheck. We don't have to trade him. I mean, you're going to see a lot of teams do that today, and they're trying to drive the price up. So we'll see what that looks like.
Yeah. As I read the Pierre tweet, the I don't know why, but for whatever reason, the end of it is, but teams are calling ... Maybe I'm just looking for something to make it seem like it's going to go the way it should go and the way it needs to go. But it seems to me to maybe crack the door open a little bit. They're going to get somebody who calls today and offers something you can't refuse.
So who gets traded today, Joe? If you had to guess today for the Preds, who at the end of the day, who all's gone? What would your guess be?
I'm going to say Marchessault and O'Reilly. Joel's asking final bets on O'Reilly and Marchessault. And I hear, and you're probably right in your reasoning on O'Reilly not being moved. I can't believe it. I can't believe that you get to this point and then you're not going to do that move that you have to do. So I'm going to guess that both of them will be moved today.
I am going to guess that the Predators trade. This is again a total guess. They trade one player today. It's Eric Halla.
Okay,
that's my guess, and that
so
they will
all
end
expiring contracts, and that's it.
Yeah, that's my guess.
Yeah,
don't know that, but that is my official prediction.
Again, like if this is how it turns out, then I would go back in time and say keep the gang together. I understand expiring deals. You get some draft capital for them.
Sure.
Like I'm not saying there's no value in that, but like if you're going to defer to a player who should be bringing a haul back to you, then defer to the whole team and let them go to the playoffs. What the hell's the difference? And at least everybody around here who has been enjoying this team playing well and wanted to see them make a run and the business aspects of the franchise benefiting. I mean, again, this is the middle. There's the mushy middle of being in the league. This is the mushy middle of the trading deadline. If you just go expiring contracts, but you don't make the move that, as you've pointed out, Robby, it has really never been available to this franchise to make.
Yeah. And again, like it also, I mean, there was a thought early in the week, Joe, that it could be a buyer's market, right? Like it was, the thought was there was going to be so many people available that drives the price down. Well, it hasn't played out that way. Like the prices for like Nick Waugh and Jason Dickinson are just ridiculous. So if the prices are going to be this high, and again, like, I've been saying the Michael McCarron thing, but Michael McCarron got a second round pick. I mean, that kind of shows you where the market is, right? So if Michael McCarron's getting a second round pick, if Nick Waugh is getting a first round pick thrown in there, like good Lord, if Nick Waugh is getting a first round pick, Eric Halla may get a first round pick. That's kind of like, that's what I'm talking about. So like, think about that. And then think about what Ryan O'Reilly can bring you back in that set of circumstances. Like to me, that's just too sweet to pass up. It'd be hard. I mean, I guess there's a chance, Pierre says that they haven't gotten an offer yet for them to seriously consider. I guess my follow-up to that would be, what does the offer have to be for them to seriously consider it?
Yeah. And I've said, like, go prospect hunting for sure.
Sure.
Here's the guys that moved the needle. So you're going to have to part with that guy, not that guy, not the one after him, that guy. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So fine. That's the back and forth that you get into, but that's what you do. And you certainly don't walk away from the phone because Ryan O'Reilly would like to stay. Like It's just, again, that to me, it would be the actions of an unserious professional sports franchise.
I'm really interested to see how it goes. And if, I would assume Barry Trotz is talking at some point today when the deadline's done. If they don't trade O'Reilly, I will be very interested to see how much detail he goes into about like the offers that they got and why they elected to hold on. I mean, I think I know what he'll say about the culture piece and how he's earned the right to have a say in it. But I don't think that is the right move to make today. My official prediction is that he's not going to get traded. I have no inside information on that. I'm not reporting anything. That's just my guess. I think that would be a mistake, but we'll see. I love trade deadline day, Joe. It's going to be fun to watch all day.
Yeah, and here comes a bunch of news, everybody, in about 90 seconds or so after the show ends. Get ready.
Yeah, just really prepare yourself for that. That could happen. Hope everybody has a great weekend. We will be back on Monday to break it all down. Next Man Up with Jake Lyman is coming up next. You're listening to 102.5 The Game.